Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look through these 4 stacks of books that I have picked up during the month of September. So all bar the one book here are vintage paperbacks. Some of them I bought online, some of them I've actually been able to get in a second-hand bookshop locally, which I was very pleased to be able to do after what seems a lifetime of trawling through a second-hand shop. So anyway, that's what we're going to be having a look at today, and we're going to get these all cleaned and shipshape and ready to go in my collection. So sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so let's get the first stack in no particular order. And I guess, well, we could start with probably the most valuable of the books that I bought, and it was one little lot, and I couldn't believe my luck. So I've been trying to put together a run of the Edge Westerns, and these turned up 57, 58, 59, and 61, the very last one, in one little lot. Now, the thing was, they were advertised as having been laminated, which you can see that these are, but that has also preserved them in superb condition. So the only thing that's sort of wrong with it, it's got a little, the original price has been penned out there, and it's got a tiny little stamp there. But apart from that, they're mint. I mean, they almost appear unread. So now this book on its own, a copy recently sold for £45–50, something like that. And I got all 4, and all the tail end ones are very, very scarce. I got all 4 books for £12.50 on a buy it now, which I was over the moon with. So that's fantastic. So I think I'm only 2 short of the whole set of Edge books now. And then I'm going to do a whole video doing a full overview of the series. These really don't need any sort of work. They're absolutely pristine. I mean, I will sort of run my toothbrush over the top edges just in case there's any sort of dust that's accumulated. I mean, even these books are still a fair vintage. You know, they're approaching is it 35 years old now? I mean, 1987, 88 for this one, in fact. So they will have a little bit of wear or a little bit of dust possibly accumulated on them, but they're absolutely superb shape. So I'll just do those while we're here. Like so. And we'll get on with the next bit. So this one's here is a bit of a nice one. So obviously made into the famous film. This is quite a scarce Patricia Highsmith book, and quite a scarce pan in its own right. One, ironically, I didn't have. There wasn't a copy in that big collection I bought recently. So I was very pleased to get this one. The only real fault, it's got a tiny bit of a split spine down the bottom there, and I can't really do a lot about that. Possibly I just think I'm just going to leave it. But it has got a sticker on the front that I do wish to get off. So I'm just going to tease it first of all to see if it comes off of its own accord, just with a tiny little bit of nail. It looks like it is heading that way. But else I was going to put a bit of spray on it and leave that for a little bit of time, just to sort of let the furniture polish eat into the glue a little bit. But in actual fact, just carefully working my way around the edges, it does appear that it's going to come off without too much effort, because it's quite a dark cover. So any little tear is going to show up. Well, that big bit came off there. As you can see on his face there, unfortunately that's in ink, and I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with that. But that little sticker's come off perfect. I'm really pleased with that, actually. So that certainly does it. It's just this bit here. So this isn't the glossiest of covers. It's sort of a semi-glossy cover, like a matte-ish finish. I mean, there's a little bit of gloss there. So I am half tempted to get. In fact, I'm going to just try it ever so gently. I've got my little polymer rubber here, and sometimes if you just sort of dab it, just make it a little bit wet, just to sort of see if it's going to do anything at all, or if it's a foregone we're just going to have to accept it. Yeah, I think even with a stiffer ink rubber, it's not going to really dig that out, which is a shame. But it is. I definitely don't want to make it any worse, so I'm just ever very lightly rubbing on this one. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, to be honest. Great cover by Taylor on this one. This one just needs a bit of a polish, and this will shine up a lot of the dirt that's on this one, because it is a little bit grubby, shall we say. But it is what it is, so I'll just put that one over to one side. Now, I'm also putting a run of Ed McBain together. Not just his 87 Precinct, but some of his other non-87 Precinct titles as well. And I am probably crazy, but I'm trying to get them all in UK paperback first edition. Now, this one's a real nice one. However, it's got some splotches on the front there, so I don't think that's going to present any sort of problem when we get to the polishing stage. This on the back, however, might be a different story. So because Ed McBain wrote so many books, I've been looking out for like little job lots, so we'll see how that one gets on. But I'm going to end up with quite a few doubles, I would think, and I'm going to put them up in my own job lot when I've licked it. This one, Kiss. It's got a little penciled sticker, a pencil price in the front here. So we'll get that one out. There we are. Yeah, absolutely been loving the Ed McBains recently. Really got into them. I read a couple of his short stories recently in the Manhunt anthology, The Best of Manhunt, from Stark House, and they were terrific as well. Really good. He's probably an author I've got quite a lot of, because his real early stuff and some of his softcore sleaze titles I've actually got by pure fluke in my sort of nightstand collection. This is quite nice. So this is one of the Beacon American books, but it was imported into the UK by Philip Jose Farmer, and this is sort of sci-fi authors with a bit of a sort of sex stroke sleaze bent on them, if shall we say. I think this one's pretty nice condition as well. I bought this off a chap who actually had some signed Philip Jose Farmer, but I didn't get any of those. Yes, this is Galaxy Novel number 43, so that's quite nice anyway. That's quite a nice copy. And then the last one in this stack is yet another Edge book. It was a double of number 57 that I've got. So chances are I'll give this one a clean. I'm not sure if I'll end up keeping this one or if I'll keep the laminated one. I mean, the laminated one is absolutely mint, but it has got a laminate on. In fact, here they are. So both pretty scarce, aren't they? The laminated one has just been preserved better. It's going to be a toss-up. I'll see how well this unlaminated one cleans up. If it cleans up all right, I suppose I ought to keep that, because it's closer to its original sort of condition. But still very pleased to get these late Edge books. I've never read them, so what I have read of Edge tends to be in the earlier ones, and I really like those. So I think what we'll do, before we go any further, let's give the top edge, give the top edge of these a dusting off. God blimey, quite a bit came off those Ed McBains there. And then around this side. It definitely is worth doing this because of that sort of invisible dust and dirt that can amass over the years with these paperbacks that tend to be 50 or 60 years old. There we are. I think they're all fine. They're ready for the final stage, which will be polishing them out. So that's one little stack done. Yeah. So this next stack are predominantly like John Creasy. Now this is not an author, and Hodder is not a publisher that I actually collect. However, I bought a couple of job lots, and I've actually got a couple more on the way from the same guy. And this chap has been selling either his uncle or his grandfather, something like that, his collection of books. And I've pretty much bought all the paperbacks. And the reason I picked them up is because they've got some really nice Agatha Christie Fontana editions that I've been trying to pick up, which have got covers by Tom Adams, which we'll see in a minute. And also I can obviously just trade these ones on, just sell them online to make up the ones that I wanted. One of the highlights of them is they look like they've only ever been read the once, and then they've been stored. So this one, for example, it's still got the original sort of advert leaflet that would have come with it. And it does literally look like it's been read the once, and that's it. So I don't think these are going to need an awful lot of cleaning. However, I'm just going to go through them all the same, just to make sure they are as good as they can be before I decide what I'm going to do with them. As I said, I've never really got into the John Creasys like that, not the Toff ones anyway. There were also a few odd Pan books in here, so I'm going to clean the Pan editions up, and once again I'll compare these with the ones that are in my own collection. I believe I've got absolutely all the Pans that are in here. There might be a couple of later editions. This is a first, but there may be some reprints in here, which are the first with a particular number, which I haven't got. So I'll obviously fill a few gaps in that way. This is a slightly later one. This is just an X. This is like a late 60s, very early 70s Pan one, when they dropped the actual numbering and they just put it by the letter designation to determine the price. I thought this one reminded me of a Dick Francis very much, because it's set in the world of horse racing. And Dick Francis was massive at that time. Now this one, obviously I've got it, number 280, but it's a particularly nice copy, but I don't think I've got this cover. This is the second printing from 1957. And the first edition that I've got, which is the Pan one from 1954. So this is a later Pan edition, kept the same number, but with a different cover. And it's such a beautiful copy. That black is so distinctive, and that's the sort of thing that will be marked up so easily. I'm definitely keeping that one because it's just outstanding. So I'm very, very pleased with that. And I will keep different jackets if I come across them. So this one here, Shilling for Candles, Josephine here. This has got a really nice Sam Peffer cover there. Once again, I don't think this is a first. Yeah, this is the second printing from 1959. I believe it's a different cover. So I will clean these. I'll compare them against my own main Pan library, and we'll see what's what. It's another slightly later one here, John Creasy, writing as Michael Halliday, Guilt of Innocence. As you can see, these on the whole, really, really nice copies. In 1968, they're all sort of a 10-ish year period. I was quite pleased to get these. So he had a little run of books by Harry Carmichael. Now, not an author I could say I've read, but as you know, I've picked up a nice box of Collins' White Circle Crime, and I don't think I've got any of these, so that's a real treat. Once again, look at this, got the original advert sheet in, just a sign of how these are as, look at that, these are as new as they could get. This is really nice, isn't it? The Mystery Book Guild for crime connoisseurs. Look at that. A crime book club. So yeah, this is exactly how those books would have been released. Now, that one's just got a little folded over page there, unless it's a slight misprint there, so I've just folded over. But generally speaking, that's really nice, you know. Very nice. Why kill Johnny? So once again, these aren't needing a lot, are they? They're just going to need in a minute a polish to really sort of buff them up a bit. So this is a nice early-ish Fontana, Fontana 286. I've got a few Fontanas right back to the very early ones, and this was like HarperCollins's imprint after sort of the Collins Crime Club sort of came to an end, and they moved all their Crime Club authors into Fontana. This is a first from 1959, a Fontana first. As I said, don't know a lot about Harry Carmichael. Here's a earlier White Circle Crime, same author, Death Leaves a Diary. And I was really pleased to pick this little run-up because I have got a soft spot for these British crime titles. Another one here, School for Murder. And I don't think these must have all been bought brand new by the owner and just read maybe 2 or 3 times at most, and then stored on his bookcase. Another Harry Carmichael, Fontana 252, The Dead of Night. Another one with a insert in the back there. These are fine. I'm not having to do hardly any rubbing out at all because there's been no pencil prices popped in. And then one more, The Vanishing Trick. So, a little bit of like grubbiness on the front, a bit of sort of fingerprint marks and that. And that's nothing that we can't sort out with a little bit of polish. There's a little list there, look at all the Agatha Christie's. I mean, I think they all were published up to that point. They were split between 3 for Christie. It was Collins, White Circle, Pan and Penguin. They were the 3 publishers who had Christie, and they all made the most of it, I think. Another Fontana 395, Emergency Exit. They're really nice covers, aren't they? Quite distinctive in their way. I've never gone out my way to collect them, and I honestly only know maybe one other person who has put anything like a collection together, and that's Tim at the Pan Collectors website, ticket.net. He's got a bit of a run of Fontana. I've got some of the early ones because I like their war ones. This is the more traditional sign. The first couple of hundred have got that sort of line there, and it says it's from Collins. This is the sort of the crossover period from the Collins White Circle to Fontana. Intrigue and Sudden Death. There we are, 1957, to Cecilia. There we are. So that's that stack. I mean, that hardly needed me to do anything, did it at all? Because the books are just ready to be cleaned. The only thing I haven't done with these is run my toothbrush along the top because they will be a little bit dusty. So if I split this stack in 2, like so, I can squeeze these together. And just give them a brushing off. That's the bottom of that pile. They don't need a lot because these aren't too bad. As I said, I do believe they come from the original owner. Really looked after them, and that's it shows. This is not your average boot sale find or jumble sale. These have been, from the original owner. They've been read once and then stored very nicely. So that's that little half done. So once again, it's been a great month for paperback finds. I've now finished cleaning all the from the mega haul. I've cleaned all the Pan books. I've now done all the 4 squares as well. I've got about a box and a half of miscellaneous titles. I've still got lots of Hutchinson ones. I've got the Guild Services editions, big load of those to do. I'm going to dig my own books out because I've got some of my own Guild Service Edition books, which I'm going to add to the collection. I'm going to do the whole lot in one hit because I think that'll make a fascinating video with those books that were designed for the forces. Right then, so let's have a look at this next stack then. Okay, so I'm really, really pleased to get some of these because I've been trying to pull together, and it's pretty easy to be honest, a run of these 60s, 70s and early 80s Agatha Christie Fontana editions that were published in the UK, and they have striking covers on the whole by the artist Tom Adams. Now, he was famous for putting a bit of a macabre twist on some of the Agatha Christie titles. He would take elements of the book, he'd usually read it 2 or 3 times, and then come up with parts of the story that he would put onto the jacket. So this one, you've got the lady's hand holding a bullet, and there's something in there that relates to the story. There is Bertram's Hotel, and I'm trying to get them. I'm not too worried about what printing they are. I'd like to get obviously the earlier printings when they first appeared. But so, for example, this one says it was first published in 65. The first Fontana issue is 1967. This is the third impression from August 68. It may be that this is the first. This had a cover with in Fontana before the Tom Adams one got issued. So I'm not overly too worried as long as I'm going to have a set of all the covers. Now, this one, in actual fact, it's a little bit low grade for one that I'd like to keep, particularly if it's a reprint, which this one is. However, you do get an idea of what the covers are like. So here's another one called The Clocks, and yeah, the covers are never signed, but Tom Adams is the chap who did them, and I think they're fantastic. Once again, these came from the same collection. I got all those other books over there. This is a later one by The Pricking of My Thumbs, and these aren't, I don't think, quite as appealing. But if you want the full set, you're gonna need it. This is a 1971 edition of that one. And see, I really like that photo of Agatha Christie on the back there. Brilliant. And a lot of these editions were the ones, these and the Pan ones, these were the ones that I read when I was a kid growing up and I was borrowing my mum's books. These were the very editions. This one is superb. It's Hickory Dickory Dock. A great one here. Now, there we are. So cover painting by Tom Adams. He actually gets a credit on that one. Not everyone in this period were done by Tom Adams, but the majority were. I think there's about 8 by a chap called Ian Richardson, who filled in perhaps when Tom Adams wasn't around. But that one there, 7th impression, 1973. That, to me, even though it's not the first, that's a really, really beautiful copy of a fantastic book set. When I go to polish them in a minute, I'm going to just get that bit of dirt up between the A and the T. But on the whole, that's probably only been read the once. And these are the editions I'm going to enjoy to read. And the covers, I think, are just terrific. This is an interesting one because this is a reprint Penguin. Now, for a little while, Penguin were looking at Pan and some of the other publishers of that time with envious eyes because they were starting to have fantastic sales. And all the staff were saying to Alan Lane, the publisher, you need to start having pictorial covers. So he commissioned an artist called Abraham Games, who'd done a lot of things during the 1950s. That's when he rose to fame, really, to take on the overall job as artistic director. And he oversaw the release of about 20-odd Penguin books with pictorial jackets. They're all very, very distinctive. This particular one was done by Godsell. I'm going to do a whole feature on the Abraham Games Penguins because they do make fascinating reading, but they're not the first, you see. So this is a reprint of Murder is Easy. I've got the first edition, but this reprint came out in 1957. So look for that in a future video when we do a look at the Abraham Games Penguins because they're fantastic. Posture and Fate, another later Agatha Christie, but one with the Tom Adams designed cover. It says first issued 1976, so that's probably about right, and that probably is the first time it was in paperback. Another great one here, Third Girl. This is on the cusp. It's got a 4 shilling and in brackets 20 pence. Really, really nice. So I've got, as I said, I've got a video planned. Once I've got all the Tom Adams in my collection, I've got a video planned to do those. And what I'm going to do is go through and point out which elements of the story Tom Adams has taken. There were some real great things where he sort of used props and borrowed things from around the house, his house, to as reference. I think this is one of my favourites of his. Not my all-time favourite. That's Destination Unknown, but this is my up in my top 5 favourite Tom Adams covers. A Caribbean Mystery with the head there and the bulging eyes. Grim, isn't it? You don't sort of think of this cover when you think of Agatha Christie and a cozy crime, but believe me, I think it's really great, that one, and certainly one of the highlights. Fantastic stuff. Another John Creasy here, this time writing as Anthony Morton. Attack the Baron book. I gotta say, that's really tight. That some of these are just hardly been read. I do feel very lucky to get them, and as I said, I've got another two lots on the way, so that's cool. A few Josephine Tays now again, in pan. I'm going to have to check exactly which editions I've got, because some of these are reprints with different jackets. So this is the new edition from 1959. So chances are I've not got that one, because I didn't used to sort of concentrate on the different jackets like I do now. So I've got the first, but I haven't got the reprint with their jackets. So that'll be going in the collection. This one's been one of my all-time favourite pan jackets ever. I think it's just fantastic. That face there, just fantastic. It's a PEF masterpiece. Although this copy in itself is really, really great condition, I do have an absolutely mint one. I believe it's even signed by PEF. I can't quite remember, but I'm sure my copy is signed, and I just love it to death. So that'll be going in my my swaps to be listed on eBay at some point myself, no doubt. Another one here. Miss Pym Disposes. So, and if you're not quite aware yet, I do sell my doubles on eBay nowadays under the username Zap Retro. So just go onto eBay. If you look up Pan First Edition, in a lot of cases you'll see my auctions. I don't start my auctions too expensive, $2.99, $3.99 for a book, something like that. So there's always a few bargains to be had. I see the price some people ask for their books. I just can't believe. I think, what planet are they living on? Man in the Queue, another Josephine Tay. This one a little bit more of wear, a little bit of wear on this one. Let's see what this edition is. This is also the second printing from 58. So chances are I've got the first of that. I'll only keep this if it's got a different jacket. Another couple of John Creasy's now. So Rocket for the Toff, never a character I've ever read. The Toff series, there he is there. I quite like this, the one and only John Creasy. He's got his own like moniker down the bottom there. It's on the back. Yeah, never read John Creasy. Maybe I should, but 1962, that one. And the last for this pile is A6 for the Toff. The most engaging character in crime fiction. Well, I think that is debatable, I'm afraid. And that's another horror one. Really, really terrific condition, these, so I was really delighted. So that was it from that collection of books. Now I've got, just to do the tops of these again with the duster, just to get the accumulated dirt off. So let's give these the once over. And they really don't need a lot. They're in such great shape. It's just mainly a few of them need a little bit of polish on, just a little bit. These slightly darker ones here, there's a bit of dust coming off those where they've aged, but on the whole, they are actually in pretty great condition, all things considered. So that's those. Yeah, these Agatha Christie's are superb. I mean, I've probably got every blooming Agatha Christie book about 3 times over, but they've done such a good job with her over the years, marketing them and the different sorts of covers and styles through the decades, right? I mean, I've got them right back to the 1930s with those very early Penguin editions. Then the Pan sort of had the lion's share of the 1950s for pictorial jackets with some absolutely cracking ones. The Collins had them in the 40s, didn't they, with the white circles? And then Fontana sort of had Agatha Christie licked for the 60s and 70s. And then they moved to HarperCollins. Right then, so the last little stack we've got, now there is an odd hardback. And yet another little King Penguin. So I'm down to maybe 6 for the set of 76. So I'm almost there. They just seem quite difficult. They're all out there, the ones that I need, but I refuse to pay £20 a copy. If you can be patient, they'll turn up for like a £5 each, which I don't mind paying. But perhaps not everyone, but the ones that I'm after, I don't think there's anything expensive left anymore. And I do want them all in first edition. And if they've got a wrapper, they have to still have the wrapper, and this one does. This one's actually really nice, but I'm just going to do the top of it whilst we're here. because it doesn't really fit in with the paperbacks we've got. So yes, Semi-Precious Stones, another little King Penguin off the list. So that's good news. Now, I went into a second-hand bookshop local to me for the first time I've been in that particular bookshop for about 3 years, maybe a bit longer, and I had a bit of time to kill on a Saturday afternoon, and I actually found some quite good stuff. So these may well have some writing inside, but basically I paid about £3 each for these, which wasn't too bad, and he gave me a little bit of discount at the end. And I picked these up because on the whole they're books that I'm either collecting or publishers that I like, and they were in pretty nice condition as well. So we'll do these slightly shorter Corgi ones first of all. So this is a Corgi giant, and he had a really good Western section in the shop, and I went through that and I pinpointed a few nice editions. So decent condition Corgi books, whatever genre, don't turn up very often, and this was a first from 1957. In fact, these are all first editions. There's no price in that one. Nice copy of The Great Betrayal. Beautiful cover, that one, by Mortlemans, who did a lot of the Four Square jackets, Edward Mortlemans. I mentioned last time, a lady I went to school with, her partner's grandfather is Mortlemans, so the word has gone out that I'm a fan, and we're going to see if there's anything left of his jackets, any of his sketches, anything like that. So I shall be keeping you posted on that. But that's a beauty, that one. Painted Ponies. Mutiny at the Red Fort. Once again, I have a feeling those, although they came from a second-hand bookshop, I have a feeling those all came from the same sort of chap. A tiny little 779 in there, which I'm going to rub out. I've actually hardly had to do any repair work whatsoever, have we, on these books today? They've been just really nice condition. There we are, which is always good. A Dell Mapback. I was delighted to get one of these, number 44, definitely one I've not got. Reply paid. There's the Mapback on the back, and it is a Western. But this was before. It says a Dell Mystery, but I think it is sort of set more like a Western. The specific Western ones sort of had a buffalo skull or something in the corner there. But this sort of tells you where the action is taking place, a typical Dell Mapback. Not one of the best ones I've seen, not by any means. Now, this one has had the laminate completely peeled off, which is why it's in not half bad shape, but the original ones would have definitely had a laminate covering to the covers, and that sadly is missing. And then the last few, so we've got a Badger book, a John Spencer Badger book. So pleased to get this. Once again, it's sort of a one with a Western bent. It's number 16, Trial of the Tomahawk. And these have got very, very scarce. I mean, you just don't see them around. So the fact that this one was around at decent condition for just £3, I thought was probably a bit of a bargain. I know for a fact I haven't got it, so yeah, very pleased to get that. The Trial of the Tomahawk. This is good. Once again, I've got a few White Circle books, but I've not got. I may have one or two Westerns, so quite nice to get that. However, I believe this one, is it coming away or is it not too bad? No, it's not too bad, but I have a feeling someone has re-glued the spine on this one, and it wasn't me. Yeah, that's been done in antiquity, that one, because they've sort of re-glued it. But they've not done too bad a job. But if it was me, I would, you can see, just sort of, it's not quite there. I would have gone a little bit closer because the top is poking out a little bit. But it's a rarity. I'm not going to worry too much because I definitely haven't got it. I was able to pick up another Ed McBain. This is a later Penguin one. I don't know if this came from the bookshop or if it was just one that I got anyway, But once again, I've definitely not got it, so I thought I'd pick it up, even if it's just a reading copy. This one I have got. It's a late 60s McBain, The Centuries. But my copy, the spine is completely faded. And this particular period, they often turn up, and if they've been left in the sun, they've had it, basically. So I've got this one, but not in such nice condition. And it's definitely a first. It's a real weird jacket, that one. And it's not an 87th Precinct title, but it is an Ed McBain, and I'm very pleased to have it as part of my collection. And then last one we got here is Lady, I Did It. Another McBain, which I shall put in, and I shall compare against the copies that I've got. It's a first printing. As I said, I'm trying to get them all. It is an 87 Precinct. I am trying to get all the 87 Precinct in first edition, so I thought I couldn't turn that one down. So let's give those ones a bit of a rub across the top there to get rid of any dust. So I'll do these sort of digest ones first of all. Well, they're not digest, they're just the smaller corgi size, aren't they? And that American Delmat back. So I didn't do badly out of that little lot, did I? That is a great month for titles. You've got to say, I've got some lovely books in there this month, so I'm not complaining. And as I said, I've got from that collection that I've been buying from that chap online, I have got a couple more lots on the way, which haven't arrived as of filming day, but I'll put them in for next month's video so you can see those. And hopefully I'll have a few more of those lovely Agatha Christie, Tom Adams jackets to show you as well. As I said, I don't think they're going to be very difficult to put together. And I'm looking forward to going through and telling you the story behind all of those, because they're great. There we are. So that's all the books sort of gone through stage one. Next step then is I'm going to start a bit of a production line and get the covers polished up where needed. Okay, so I've got my old trusty Mr. Sheen out. I've sprayed the corner of this soft duster here. Well used, but good all the same. And I'm going to start working my way through these. Now, some of them are going to need a bit more than others. This was that duplicate copy of Edge number 57. So, as I said, the tail end Edge books are super scarce. So, whatever happens, I've got a spare one of this particular one. And it goes for about a tenner or so, something like that. So, someone will snap this up, I'm sure. And as expected, it's coming up, because this is a nice glossy cover. A lot of the mess and dirt has come up absolutely perfectly. And that's come up quite nice, that one. Now, this one's another nice Philip Jose Farmer. Don't know if you've ever read Philip Jose Farmer. I think he's fantastic. I know a lot of people only really know him for his Riverworld saga, To Their Scattered Bodies Go, and The Fabulous Riverboat. And they're good, don't get me wrong, they're fantastic. But his other stuff is great as well. And there's another great series that came out in the 80s called Dayworld Rebel, and they're really good as well. Now, these more modern McBains should clean up really nicely. However, there was that one that was looking real rough, so I'm not sure how that'll go. Now, as I said, I've been working my way through the Ed McBains and the 87th Precinct ones in particular. And whilst I've been reading each one, I've been listening to a podcast which analyses each book in detail. And that's called Hark. And it's available on all your normal sort of podcast platforms. And it's three guys. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. At least it's three chaps at the moment. I'm not sure if there's a lady joins them sometime later on. And they've got a great Facebook page. They're all over sort of social media. There's good Instagram one as well. In fact, their Instagram page is great because they show each 87th Precinct book in UK and US hardback and paperback first edition jacket. And I've actually used it as a bit of a reference in some cases to make sure I was buying the right edition, because as I said, I'm trying to get the paperback firsts of Mukbang, which I don't think will be too difficult because all the early ones are in Penguin anyway, which I've got. So it's just probably what will be harder will be some of the later ones in paperback first. So I can recommend that podcast. What I've heard so far has been great. Now this is the one that had that sort of muck on the front. So I have a funny feeling we're not going to have too much issue getting rid of this, but I'm going to spray directly on initially because it's a nice glossy 80s cover. And that should come straight up, I would think, because it's just a splash of coffee or something like that. The back cover of this, however, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to clean that or not. So we shall see. Yeah, this one's almost there. Yeah, but a little bit more elbow grease on where the worst splodge was. And I think we may be in business. Yes, if you have a look at that now. In the light, I can just sort of see a faint outline where it was, but on the whole, that's not too bad. I'll give it a tiny bit more buffing, see if it can get that last bit off. And in the light now, still there, but I feel it could go. Okay, not bad. Right, now the back cover, however, was far, far worse, wasn't it? Look at that. So it may be unsavable or unsalvageable, but I'm going to try. So I'm going to spray the bottom bit here. And one thing you can do is just sort of dab it around, first of all, just to sort of, I don't want to get too much of the book wet if I can help it. But this is bad. And whether it will lift up or not, I don't know. Right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put that to one side and let it sort of soak in for a minute. Right, here's the talented Mr. Ripley. So my cloth is already quite damp, so that'll be fine for this one because I don't want to put too much on. Yeah, very scarce pan, this one, if you ever come across one in first edition. Patricia Highsmith had a few pan crime books. This is a great one. Now, these aren't going to need much, if at all, because they were shiny anyway. So this is just basically taking off any sort of invisible muck that wasn't protected by the plastic wrap that these edge books came in. Once again, I couldn't believe my luck when I found them, all four, for £12.50. That's brilliant, you know. That's luck for you. Sometimes it pays off, and getting the very last one, edge number 61, which I've seen sell for up to £100 on its own, was, well, super lucky, wasn't it? Just unheard of, really. So these aren't taking much work at all. Look at that. Edge 61. That worked out about £3. Brilliant, isn't it? Right, let's go back to the Ed McBain. So the front we did, the side's all right. It's just this bit over in the edge there. So let's see if it's going to... Looking good. Or looking better, shall we say. Not looking good, but it's looking better. I do feel we're making some progress here. A little bit of tactical wiping. Let's see if it keeps lifting it up. God knows what it was, whether it was just like a load of coffee or something. Thing is, it is a first edition, so compared to how that was, that's actually not come up too badly, has it? All things considered. And the front's absolutely fine now. So that back bit, I don't know if you can see, but it's just sort of along the edge there, where it's still showing sort of signs of it being a bit mucky. Now, I'm gonna put put a tiny bit more polish on and just see if it makes a tiny bit of difference here. But if not, I might have to. I think that's probably as good as we're going to get it. But we're just having a look. I'm just sort of applying it right to the very edge here and see what happens. It does seem to be. It does still seem to be coming up somehow, which is pretty amazing, actually. It's just because of where it is, I can't put too much pressure on. That's the issue. But, well, let's have a look now. That's looking even better, isn't it? It's almost there. Wowee, that's actually not looking too bad. The only thing is, the corner is, because I've been working on it, it hasn't come through, but it does feel a little bit damp. So once again, I'm going to put it there for 5-10 minutes while we do some more, and we'll come back to that because that's almost there. I tell you, compared to what it was, that's absolutely amazing in actual fact. Good old Mr. Sheen, eh? Right then, so let's pop that pile over there, and let's zip through these ones here. I don't think these are going to take too long either, because they were predominantly great condition. So this is really just to take off any sort of invisible signs of dirt, because there was nothing obvious on here that needed. I think a couple of them had a few odd marks, but nothing much to worry about. Yeah, looks nice. Here's another really nice one with a black cover, so this should comes up really sharp. And most of this sort of wear and damage is just like where fingerprints, I guess, have amassed over the years, but something like that has come out really great. So I'm pleased to have some of these. This is another one which, hopefully this one's going to come out really nice as well. I'm not putting any additional polish on because the cloth has already got quite a bit on it. There we are. That looks really nice, that one. This is just like putting the finishing touches on them, get them so that they're ready to be catalogued, added to the collection, or disposed of accordingly. Coming up really nicely. That one's going to need its corner pushing down because that's where the corner was bent over. I was speaking to someone about weighting books down once you've actually repaired them, or if you've got a book which is a bit bent and you've sorted the cover out and you want to sort of keep it flat. So someone suggested to me that you could get a normal house brick, of which I've got a little pile outside my house, and wash it initially, if you believe it, wash the brick and then wrap it in cloth, and then you can use it as like a big weight on your books if you've been gluing or something like that. And I thought that's not a bad idea, but the thing is, I've always got stacks of hardbacks around anyway, so it's not like I'm short of having a weight. You can buy smaller weights, and when I put books in dust wrappers, I actually just tend to use other books as like little weights, but I have in the past used mugs and things like that, anything that I've got to hand really, just to keep a book or just to keep things flat or weighted. But I've got all manner of heavy hardbacks, so it's not an issue for me. But I did think the brick idea was quite clever, actually, to use a house brick wrapped in a cloth. That's quite clever, that. So I had a few little marks on the back here, but they're coming up quite nicely. Yeah, that came up really nice. Another early Fontana here. Always give the spines a little wipe as well. These are coming out really nice, as I thought they would. The 50 to 60 years of dirt and grime is vanishing in front of my eyes. It's really nice. Something like that. It's probably only ever been read the once when it was bought. It's been well protected ever since then. This one's a little bit dirtier than the others, but it's older, of course, another decade older. So I can't go crazy on these, but do what I can. So you may remember just recently, about a month or so ago when I filmed this, I picked up a really, really worn copy of Forbidden Planet, 1950s sci-fi classic, which became the movie. And I got a copy of the British Corey edition, which is super rare. But it was also falling to bits. I mean, literally, the cover was in two pieces, split at the spine. The book itself was in 4 blocks, which were all needed re-gluing, and I managed to piece it together a bit like a jigsaw puzzle more than anything, and it came up really, really well. Well, the video went out and it did pretty good, as you would expect. It didn't do bad, 500-600 views, and then out of nowhere, suddenly it started getting 50 views a day, and as we speak, that's what it's getting at the moment. It's about 50 views a day. And I thought, well, that's weird. Why is it that video is suddenly, getting all this attention? So I have a little plugin on my computer that analyzes your YouTube statistics, and Google's all over YouTube analytics, as you can imagine. And it had a link, and it got mentioned on a Reddit site. So, as I'm sure you're aware, Reddit is a form of social media sharing, and they have dedicated groups, a bit like there's dedicated Facebook groups. And that particular video of me cleaning Forbidden Planet had been highlighted by a member as an unintentional ASMR video, which I couldn't believe. And he basically said, yeah, you got to watch this, it's brilliant. And it's the whole channel is full of unintentional ASMR. So whether that's because I do a lot of cleaning videos and I've got a softly spoken voice, I don't know. But anyway, it made me laugh, but I was pleased to see lots of new people come to the channel, which was great. I had no idea that unintentional ASMR was so popular, but it evidently is. And so if you're here watching this because you just like the process, you find it relaxing, I certainly find it relaxing cleaning books and talking about them, then brilliant, thank you very much. I hope you'll stay, because I've got an endless supply of books that need cleaning. I'm always buying new stuff, and the stuff in my collection is loads that needs going through and having the treatment, as it were, to keep it nice. So welcome anybody who's new to the channel and who's joined on the back of just finding the videos relaxing rather than informative. There we are. So we're well over halfway on all of these now, which is good. They're coming up very, very nicely, which I am pleased about. So I'm just going to pause there a moment. I'm going to rearrange the camera a little bit, and then we'll be back for the last bit. Okay, so we're on to the almost the last stretch now, with some of those lovely Agatha Christie titles that we looked at earlier. I think they're great. I really do like these. So very, very pleased with these. That is definitely one of my favourites, that one. But I think they're all very, very good, and it brings back a lot of memories. Seeing these covers from when I read them myself when I was growing up, and my mum had a fantastic collection of a big box of them all in Pan and Fontana, and I think that was certainly where I got my love of Pan books. It was my mum's Agatha Christie's and my dad's Ian Fleming's in Pan. And had quite a nice collection of paperbacks as well, which sort of got me into it as well. Thankfully, I was brought up in a house full of books, and it rubbed off on me. Sadly, the joy of reading has not rubbed off on my kids. So they read what they have to for school. Well, not my daughter anymore. She's grown up and left home, but my son's still at school, and he reads what's required in that respect, and that's about it. He doesn't read for pleasure. There's just so many distractions for youngsters these days, which is a shame. It's that lovely Abraham Games cover. Not actually by him, but under his direction. This one was a little bit mucky, as often these are, actually. They don't often turn up in nice nick. There's some real great ones in that line, though. I'm looking forward to showing you those. Now I need a bit of polish on here. Now this one actually had that mucky bit in between the A and the T, so I'm going to go on there first. See if I can start to loosen that one. It does feel quite a bit of resistance there, so I'm going to leave that, do the rest of the cover, and then come back to it at a different angle. Because apart from that, this book is in real top condition. And that's how I want these Tom Adams ones, because as I said, they're not first editions. They are only reprints, but they're reprints with a particular jacket on which I want. So it's coming up slowly but surely. Let's keep going. Just a little bit there. Not sure what it is. Some sort of bit of muck it may have been the residue of a sticker from many years ago, possibly. It's still there. There's a tiny, tiny bit there. I think I just need to... I'm going to go in with my soft rubber, see if I can loosen it with that one a bit. Even that's not seeming to do a lot. I think we're almost there. I can't quite make out what it was. As you can see, I've virtually got it gone, that little mark, but it's still there just a tiny bit, and I can't quite see what it is. It's coming. Almost there. It was the only thing stopping this cover being pristine. Well, it's left the tiniest mark you can see there between the A and the T, and I don't think that's ever going to come off. It almost looks like a blemish in the printing, but apart from that, distance. Beautiful copy, absolutely beautiful. So that's okay. These should be fairly easy to clean up. Nice, more recent. You know, these are a mere 45 to 50 years old. These latest, these early 70s ones, and these are got nice glossy covers. So again, I really like that. A photo of Christie on the back there, brilliant. Agatha Christie is still so popular today. Certainly, they keep coming up with different ways to adapt her stories for TV and film. Recently started rewatching the Geraldine McCulloch Marple, Agatha Christie's Marple, of which I did get the joy to be in one of them, Towards Zero, as an extra, just there in the background in one scene. So blink and you miss me. But it was pretty cool to be there on set, and it's like being transported back to the 1950s. We had to wear all 50s clothes, or in fact 40s clothes. It was set in the late 40s, I believe, that one. See some of the stars there. It was great. Flying through these now because they don't really need a lot of cleaning. They're actually really, really great condition. So it's just more a matter of almost paying these lip service and just going through the motions, because there will be stuff there that you just can't pick up with the eye. So it's quite nice to do those. And as I said, I am planning to sell some of these on because they're not actually part of what I collect. So I'm just going to turn them over because I've already got the bits and pieces out of the collection that I wanted. Predominantly these pans and some of the Collins White Circles, and of course the Agatha Christie's. But it was nice to get the guy's entire collection. As I said, there's a couple more boxes on the way, and they'll be in the next video. It will come under next month's pickups. Of course, if I go back and I look at everything that I've picked up in 1 year, because I've now basically recorded everything, more or less, on video, I might be quite surprised and think, blimey, I've picked up, excluding the mega haul, I've probably picked up 200 books in a year, which is, I haven't read 200 books, so I'm buying more than I'm reading. Obviously, if you include the mega haul, which was about 1,500 books, it's been a pretty decent year, all things considered, as a paperback collector. Certainly don't get years like this very often. Certainly looking forward to getting to the London Book Fair, if that ever happens again. If the Stan virus gets sorted, because next time the London Paperback Book Fair is on, I shall go along and I shall film it for my American friends, because it is quite something. It's nothing like the big sort of San Francisco shows that you would get, all the ones in LA, but it is at least the British equivalent of paperback heaven and worth going along for. There we are. So we've just got one little pile now, and this is those westerns that I picked up in the second-hand bookshop a couple of weeks ago. And they are cool as you like. So a couple of the Egg McBains as well. Now we don't need to do the hardback because there's nothing we can do with that. That's as good as it's going to get. So let's zip our way through here. And before we do this last step, let's have a look at that Ed McBain from earlier. So there is the back cover, and I think we're just going to leave it at that because I think it's about as good as we're going to get it. But miles better than what it was. So here we are then. Let's get this last little lot done and dusted for the day. So I hope you have enjoyed seeing this month's pickups. Was there anything in there that you fancied, wished you picked up? Anything in there that you've read that's particularly good? I would be interested to know if anybody's read any of those corgis that we've got coming up in a minute, because they're not authors or titles that I really recognise. I believe my pal in America, Paul Bishop, who does the Six Gun Justice podcast, he pointed out that one of the westerns was a particularly nice one, and can't for the life of me remember which one it was. So was it Painted Ponies, I think he said was one that he spotted was pretty nice. Paul and his friend Richard do a great western focused podcast called the Six Gun Justice podcast, and what with them every Monday, and the Paperback Warrior every Monday. Can't do anything with that one because it's a matte cover. Same with that one, although I'm just going to run it over because it's a bit dirty. Every week now we're treated to such entertainment. It's brilliant. I mean, we really are living in a great time if you're into collecting paperbacks, plus the YouTube channel. So you've got my own, you've got Gary Levisi over in America, David Avalone, the son of Michael Avalone. He puts his videos out now and again, not many, but he does put them out. Then we've got we can't do anything with that because it's a matte cover. Here we are. Obviously the regular posts on paperbackwarrior.com, and my friend ticket.net once a week, he does his blog post. These are all places that I, as a paperback fan, like to visit, watch, or listen to. And I'm sure you will too. As long as you keep watching my videos, I don't mind. There's that lovely Painted Ponies. And it is a beauty, I have to say. So, coming to the end now, if you have enjoyed today's video, do please give it a thumbs up. It is most appreciated. Do leave a comment down below. They all help if you have enjoyed it. And definitely give it a thumbs up. If you've not already, please do subscribe. I am rapidly getting to near 5,000, which is in itself absolutely amazing to have 5,000 subscribers, and I'm rapidly coming up on 1 million views. That'll be happening before the year is out, I would think, the way it's going, which once again is absolutely mind-blowing, so thank you for that. But do hit that subscribe button because it does help the channel, and share these videos on your social media as well. So there we are. Look at this. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. We're done and dusted. Let's clear the decks and have a little look back at everything that we've done today. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed this latest pickups and cleaning video. If you have enjoyed it, do please hit that thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for regular vintage paperback coverage, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.